Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, hanging out here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios that you see right behind me with that piping hot cup of coffee, cup of tea, whatever you want it to be. You can go and get yours at Cafe Kubal, any of their 5 locations inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital, as well as 401 South Salina Street, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, where we'll be this Thursday doing this show live from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time in Syracuse, downtown Syracuse, and of course their newest location at 208 North Townsend Street in Syracuse, New York. We're here on Facebook as well, facebook.com/LiveNowDT, with a fantastic show set up for you inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Coming up in just a second, Jerome Smith will be joining us. The last time Syracuse had a 1,000-yard back in a season was Jerome back in 2012. They did it for 5 straight years from 2008 to 2012, and since then, Syracuse has not had a 1,000-yard back from 2012. So we'll talk with Jerome about how Syracuse dedicated themselves to the run and how they got a victory, because back when Syracuse used to dedicate themselves to the run, that's when Jerome Smith and the team were doing well. So we'll get his take on it, and I thought it was a perfect take to get from the man that ran the rock very well. The last time we saw Syracuse get over 1,000 yards, and not just over 1,000, but over 1,100 in a season. So he'll be with us. Papa Joe is with us 2 days early because we're going to be on site on location at Cafe Kubal. Papa Joe, who's usually with us on Thursdays, will be with us here Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. this morning, speaking with us on the Jaguars from the Sunshine State, as well as the NFL through 3 weeks, Major League Baseball playoffs, and we'll make our Week 5 college football picks. And we'll end the show on Tuesday, as we always do, with the ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avicoli. So with all of that being said, I got the man on the show with me this morning. We know that the hay is never in the barn. We know that hard work pays off. We know dedication and determination, faith and goodwill are all parts of what you need to do to be successful. And above all things, I know that this is one of the guys that I consider a friend and someone who is very special and near and dear to my heart. So with that being said, I proudly bring in number 45, Jerome Smith. Jerome, how are we doing today?
Dan the man, how you doing, brother, man? I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Happy we got our first win this past week, man. I'm doing well.
I know, and talking about that first Syracuse win, you and I spoke going into the season. What did you take away from the first couple weeks? Because obviously being on the offensive side of the ball for Syracuse, when you were here, you got to do some good things, and the offense for Syracuse was not getting anything done these first couple weeks. Had a chance to beat North Carolina. Game was 7-6, 10-6 for a while before it blew open. And then against Pittsburgh, Syracuse had another opportunity, and the offense just didn't do it. Defense was capitalizing. The other teams, North Carolina and Pittsburgh, were making mistakes. So it was a perfect recipe for a win. Syracuse didn't get it, though. The offense was too quiet those first couple weeks. What did you see from the offense to come out?
You just saw the typical stuff in the offense. A young offense, they would struggle early on. They're going to be behind the defense with no true training camps. You knew they would be behind. But I think now they're starting to do some things that'll help Tommy out and help Rex out by running the ball and being a little bit more efficient. You just look at the guys running the ball right now. I think maybe Tucker's the only guy who's averaging over 4 yards a carry. That's a stat right there that you just take away and say, yeah, it helps you out when you run. It helps Tommy out when you run. It helps the whole offense out when you're able to run the ball and get some consistency.
Yeah, and running the ball, and I spoke about this earlier on in the week here, just how important it is and how vital it is to run the ball and how you can't underestimate or, undercut the fact that it is a huge piece of the game. We look at a Syracuse team that, Dino comes in and it's orange is the new fast and, the air raid and we're going to do this, this, and this. But ultimately, when you look at it, if you don't run the ball well, then, it doesn't really matter what you do in the air. I mean, you could win a few games. You could do a few good things, but ultimately running the ball condenses the clock. It keeps your defense off the field. It gives them an opportunity to get a breather. It gives you an opportunity to shorten the game. And, it obviously makes you multiple so the defenses can't read everything that you're trying to do. So, I mean, what can you – because it looked like Syracuse the first couple of weeks was just running the ball out of, like, necessity to say that they did once or twice. But
Yeah.
but when they ran it in this third week for them, it looked like they meant to do it. It looked like they wanted to do it. It looked like they were committed to do it.
They made a decision this week we were going to run the ball, and that was good to see.
Yeah, so I mean, for you, when we look at Syracuse and the offense is different under Dino and whatnot. I mean, how important is it for Dino to know, in your opinion, that as much as he might want to do this, that, and the other, that he has to run the ball in order to make any game shorten that game, give the defense a break? Because if your offense is playing well and he's running 100 plays a game, guess what? Whether it's good, bad, or not, whether they're scoring or not, that still puts the defense on the field, and it still puts you in shootouts. Because if Orange is the new fast and you're getting into the end zone in 30 seconds, that doesn't really help out your defense. So just how important it is for Dino and this team to, no matter how fast they want to be, to also be able to, break this game down, slow it down a little bit with the run so that they can keep the defense off the field.
Oh, man, Coach has been doing this for a long time, so I'm sure he has a game plan, has things figured out on just what to do moving forward. But I think just having a young guy at the quarterback, young guy at the helm, I think you just got to run, to help him out and just protect him a bit.
And for you to do that and to see Sean Tucker, I mean, on the first series they ran the ball, second series they ran the ball, and I'm sitting there in the dome going, "Oh my God, we're actually we're running like we were kind of joking about earlier. They're running with purpose. They're actually running with the notion that they want to." When you saw Syracuse start the game off running the ball, what did that do for you, and what did that make you think of that they were committing to it early on in this game against Georgia Tech?
Oh, man, it looked like we were getting back to old school football in the dome. We were punching people in the mouth, going downhill, and like you said, trying to make the statement that we'll run the ball. We are going to run the ball. We won't be one-dimensional, and that was good to see just as a fan, all alumni from there. It was really good to see just those guys figuring it out.
And speaking here with Jerome Smith of Syracuse Orange Football history, Jerome, seeing Sean Tucker, he's a freshman, and he's somebody that's really obviously. I mean, when they started the season, if Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard were playing, Sean Tucker was arguably fifth on the depth chart. Went from fifth to first. Those guys decide to opt out. And then you got Markenzie Pierre, and things weren't really getting done. Jawar Jordan Jr. came out, and Dino said that he got an owie. So, they end up bringing in Sean Tucker. Sean, just what can you say to the young man about the opportunity he got from fifth on the depth chart to being 100-yard back in the first half of a game?
Man, roles are forever changing. Always be ready, man. You never know what today brings. You never know what tomorrow brings. Who'll be around, and just prepping like it's going to be game day for you. I had a chance to be able to watch Sean last year and finish the season year off down there in Baltimore. Man, he's a good football player, heck of a football player. I know he'll do great things here, like the Maryland guys before him. It'll be interesting, man. It'll be interesting to see moving forward how they'll move with Sean, and when some of those older guys get back, it'll be a good room, man. I'm excited for them.
And Jerome, for you, like you said, you got to see Sean early on. You got to see him when he was playing in Baltimore, and when he was before he came off to play collegiate football. What did you take away from his game when you were watching him before he got to Syracuse?
Oh, he's explosive, man. He makes moves on the move. He does a really good job at finishing plays, and is the home run hitter that we're going to need. You just seen that big run he had for the touchdown. He finished. It was a heck of a finish by him, man. That don't happen without finishing. So shit, man. He'll be a good one for these next few years. That was good to see for real.
Yeah, and the run that he had, the first touchdown that he had, his first, and this is the thing too. I mean, we look at this. His first career touchdown was a fantastical play where he did, where he finished the run and he didn't give up on it. And I mean, we see him. As soon as he got through, I was like, oh my God, there's a hole for him. Let's see, and he took it, and I was like, oh great, this is perfect. And as soon as
it was really funny. It was like a hole that you haven't seen in a long time. I was like, oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah. It was like me seeing, okay, like I go to Disney all the time, and I haven't been down to Florida since last December. So when he broke that hole, that was like me seeing the Magic Kingdom again. I'm like, oh my God, is it real? Let me run toward it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like I see the whole break, and I'm like, oh my God, he's going to go through. And then he goes through, and I'm like, okay, that's a first down. Then he hits the guy, and I see him get wrapped up, and he rolls over, and I'm like, okay, so he's down, but that was a good run. And then all of a sudden, he keeps going, and I was like, oh, maybe his knees weren't down. And like you were talking about when you watched him in high school, that he finished the play, that he would run through it and finish the play. Well, his first ever touchdown, 38 yards. So you look at it, it's an over 30-yard touchdown. And on a play like that, where it looks like he got wrapped, I mean, if you're going to have your first touchdown be anything, it's in the first event ever in the new dome, the first football game in the new dome, the first football win in the new dome, and it's on a play that was definitely like SportsCenter top 10 worthy.
Absolutely.
It was
got to come through the running back line.
And it was. I mean, it was such an incredible. I mean, Jerome, like when you see a play, like bring me into that, because when you're running back out on the field, and you get hit, and we think, okay, you got tackled, your knees down or whatever. Like plays like that, where you have the wherewithal in, while everything's like on a freeway on the field, you get hit and you're rolling on the field and you spin off and you stay up. Like bring me into, I mean, these are split second moves that you're making. He could have easily thought he was down and fell down, but he ran through the play. Just bring me into that as a running back, seeing somebody do something like that, doing that yourself, where, everybody on the field thinks you're down except for you.
Oh, man, that's rule number one. Don't stop until you hear the whistle. So, man, he did a heck of a job at, not finishing until he heard the whistle, and never heard the whistle, so you make sure you finish your run. Oh, man, that kid, that was crazy balance. That was impeccable. That was a great job by him.
That coming here from Jerome Smith this morning. Jerome, I was looking at the history of Syracuse yesterday, and 2012, the last time Syracuse had a 1,000-yard back, that is a long time away. So, what's your take on you being the last 1,000-yard back for Syracuse, and the fact that it has been almost a decade since we've seen another one?
Oh man, that's a heck of an accomplishment. But create a message on what's the issue. Not being able to run the ball, not being able to have 1,000-yard rushes. I'm sure it's a direct correlation with wins and teams. I mean, if you're looking at teams in the top 25, I'm going to go over 90% have a 1,000-yard rusher. That's usually the staple of a good running program, being able to have a 1,000-yard rusher. And I know my 4 years there, we had a 1,000 rusher every year, and shoot, we went to bowl games 3 out of 4 years.
Yeah, and like you said, a direct correlation. I agree with you on it. I mean, if you're not running the ball, to me, if you're not multiple, then teams are going to eventually figure out. And does every squirrel get a nut? Can you beat somebody by just, simply passing the ball and not running at all? I'm sure you could. But I look at Clemson, and they have Travis Etienne, and I look at Alabama in recent history. They had Josh Jacobs, and I look at everybody paying attention.
Keep naming those guys down there.
Yeah,
they got guys for days in Alabama.
Right, and then you look at Joe. Everybody pays attention to LSU's championship win, and they say Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow. But what about Clyde Edwards-Helaire? So and what he's doing for Kansas City. So. When you see these successful teams with, these quarterbacks that everybody's talking about, they have the running backs. More often than not, everybody wants to talk about Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, and so on and so forth, but every single one of them had a back they could trust in, and it's really hard to win championships. What'd you say?
Heisman guys who win Heisman trophies down there.
Right. So, it's like how can you really, no matter what offense you want to call yourself, how can you really believe that you're going to get to a bowl game or get to, I mean, you might get to a bowl game, but the college football playoff and a championship and all of that, that doesn't happen with being a one-dimensional team. And, I hope that, we saw Syracuse do this. I hope that this is a commitment to it and an excitement for it and that it doesn't stop, because I have been, the running, and you and I talk about it. I love the running back position. I respect it like crazy. I've gotten to know some of the greatest from Jim Brown and Floyd Little all the way to you and the guys that are currently there, and Prince and everybody. So, and Mo Neal last year. So I'm very, very much on the side of, run the rock, and I hope that Syracuse finally commits to this.
Absolutely, man. And I like I said, man, Coach Dino, man, Coach Davis done a great job there, trying to get this thing turned around. I'm sure he knows what to do, man. Those guys that get this thing going.
Coming from Jerome Smith. Jerome, going back to your days and looking at, what the team truly accomplished back then, and we talk about, the 1,000-yard, rushers and all of this, and you being a part of that group and whatnot. I'm going to read you off some numbers because I know that you know these gentlemen, but I want to give credit where credit is due. And when we look back at Syracuse history and look back at these running backs, if we go back to 2008, and I'll start there. 2008, 1,000-yard back, we had Curtis Brinkley, 1,164 yards. So 2009. It went to DeLon Carter with 1021, which is actually my birthday, which is pretty cool. And in 2010, DeLon Carter again, 1,233 yards. In 2011, it was Antoine Bailey with 1051. And in 2012, it was you with 1171, 5.2 yards carry. When I say Curtis Brinkley, DeLon Carter, Antoine Bailey, all those guys joining you for that period of 5 years of 1,000-yard backs at Syracuse, just what that means to you to be in good company with those guys.
All big-time football players. All big-time football players. All had a chance to play in the NFL. Guys who changed that program around, guys who were the staple of that program for years, man. That running back position at Syracuse, man, it's a holy position. Like you said, the words of Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Floyd, moving on down, like you said, Antoine and Will Reyes of the world, or the Reyes of the world, Walter Reyes of the world. So, man, we've had a great opportunity to be in that conversation with those guys, man. It's been great. Those guys are big timers, though, man. Hearing some of those names, man, that's a big timer group right there.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's like Syracuse, back in the day, it was Floyd Little, it was Ernie Davis, it was Jim Brown, Joe Morris, back in '87 when they went undefeated, Rob Drummond and Michael Owens. There was all of this history, Larry Zonka, of running the ball. And then it comes to you guys. So it's back in the history of 44 that everybody's paying attention to. And then it's speed up a little bit to the 80s with Michael Owens and Rob Drummond and Moose Johnston. And then it's speed up a little bit to DeLon Carter and Antoine Bailey and Curtis Brinkley and you. And now it's like, this giant question mark of almost a decade. I mean, to me, Syracuse should be RBU. Look at the history of it. The running backs should want to go to Syracuse, but with issues on the offensive line, not winning games, and the dedication to running the rock not being there, that's a perfect storm to not get backs in. But, you said when great recruiting with Antoine Bailey, with you, with Prince, with Curtis Brinkley, with DeLon Carter, Walter Reyes and whatnot, there was so much good there. Are you surprised that Syracuse got away from that?
I'm not sure we so much got away from it. Like I said, everyone comes in with their own identities, with their own plans. We were Coach Marone. We were, pro style offense. We kind of fit the mold of some of those guys. Some of those guys fit the mold of, shiftier, change of pace, and this type of new style offensive guys. I totally understand. But one thing you'll never forget, man. Big backs will be able to play in any weather. We'll be able to play in any offense. We'll be able to play in any weather. Because we can adapt.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I want to get back to RBU because we look back to some of those games. I mean, let's go to the Yankee Stadium and the Pinstripe Bowl. If you and what you guys are able to do and who you were able to do it again, with West Virginia and whatnot, and it's cold, and like you said, running backs can run in any weather. And it's just, I mean, I miss those days. I miss the days of the Antoine Baileys and the Prince Tyson Gullys and the Jerome Smiths where, I think there was a season where let me go back and look at it. I think there was a season where you had over 1,000, and I think, like, Prince, it was something ridiculous. Like, you had 1,100 that year, like I had mentioned, and Prince had, like, 800 and something.
Yeah, we brought 2,000 yards on the ground that year. Yeah, the year we won the Pinstripe Bowl. So, Prince had 250 in a bowl game, and I ran for 160. It was a good time, man.
Yeah, because that was the thing is it's not even that Syracuse had a 1,000-yard back. It's they almost had two 1,000-yard backs in the same season. And, I mean, those days are the days I miss. It's not like I don't want to see Syracuse throw the ball and do their thing, but for goodness sakes, the more that you ask somebody to throw the ball, the higher the probability is that there's going to be mistakes made and whatnot. And when everybody knows you're passing it, that's going to create an issue out there because of the fact that, defenses can scheme for you. So now that Sean Tucker broke it open, I'm hoping that Sean is now going to be a part of this offense and get it done. What I loved about it was Dino said after the game, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along the lines of, that Sean kind of looked like tired after some of the carries that he had, and he's like, oh, man, he goes, if that weight on your shoulders is heavy, I can put it on somebody else. And Sean was like, no, I'm not giving it back. And I was like, you know what? That's what I respect. When you're gassed, you're like, you know what, coach? Let me take a big old deep breath, but there's no way in heck I'm giving somebody else the ball. I'm going to go back out there and do what I need to do. And with you and Prince, I don't know how you guys did it because you both ran the rock and you both wanted it all the time. So I respect you guys for that.
Yeah, big respect for each other. I knew, and it kind of worked in our favor. I know one time, I think we were playing, I'm going to say, Stony Brook maybe been Stony Brook up in the dome, and Tyson scored on the first play of the game, like 60 yards or something. And he just stared at me, and it was kind of like, all right, my turn. So, I mean, it was a great competition, and it kept us both going, and it kept the room going, honestly. It kept competition throughout the room, and that's what ultimately makes a position group in a room, the competition that you have in there, what guys you have pushing each other. We pushed each other every day, whether it was practice, meetings, who could catch better, who could play Madden better, whatever it was, we competed. That's a big difference in a lot of groups, competition.
Yeah, and we see Jawar Jordan Jr. He's a fast guy, small guy, scrappy guy on the team. We've seen, so I've seen, probably his best moments were when I was watching the spring game and some of the things he did a couple of years ago. But now, to see him try to get comfortable here, Markenzie Pierre's been on the team for a while, but, it's still, we're still kind of waiting for, him to find his comfort zone and do his thing and whatnot. What's your advice to the backfield of Syracuse right now as they have been trying to essentially figure things out? Markenzie's been on the field, been off the field. They gave him a chance, then he didn't have a chance. Jawar Jordan Jr. with the two other guys being out, we looked like he was going to get some type of a chance this year, but behind Abdul and behind Jarvion, now he gets more of a chance. And then here's little old Sean Tucker, all 5'10" of them, that was, supposed to be relegated to, being the backup to the backup to the backup, and now he's the guy. So as this room continues to change and rotate, and big ups and big respect to the Sean Tuckers of the world that never give up on their dreams, because I love that. What's your advice to this backfield?
I think I said it before. Just, man, always know roles are forever changing. Today you can be number 5. Tomorrow you can be number 1. So make sure you prepare yourself and just get ready like you're going to be the starter every week. and compete. One of the things, like I said, that made our running back room a really good room was we were also each other's biggest competitor, but also each other's biggest teammate, supporter. Nobody wanted Tyson to do better than me. I don't even know if he knew how bad I wanted him to do good. We won games that eventually would take care of us as a team and eventually take care of our room. We had a really good room that helped get some really, really good standards for the group, I guess.
Coming here from Jerome Smith, the Syracuse's last 1,000-yard back. Jerome, before I let you go, to look at, as we move forward in Syracuse, first couple weeks we talked about it against Georgia Tech. I do want to give Sean Tucker another note here while I got you on the phone, and that is the fact that Sean not only did well for Syracuse, but he led both teams, Georgia Tech and Syracuse, with the most carries in the game, 24, the most rushing yards of either team, 112, and the most rushing touchdowns with 2. This is going up against a Georgia Tech team with a quarterback in Jeff Sims that runs the rock. It's also going up against Jahmyr Gibbs, who's a very strong player on Georgia Tech. What does it mean to you that Sean Tucker didn't just lead the Syracuse room, but he led the entire field of both teams in carries, in yards, and in touchdowns, and had 100 yards by halftime?
Dan, that just tell you what type of football player he is, man. I think he's going to be a really good big time football player in the future. And like you said, his goals won't stop inside of his room. He'll be nationally recognized, man. He'll be a good football player in the future.
And absolutely incredible. Jerome, for you, you're with Tyrone Wheatley. Your old running backs coach hired you and gave you an opportunity. What are you guys up to now? I know that your season has been put on hiatus for a little while. So what have you and Mr. Wheatley and the crew been up to in preparation of, when you do get out there?
Oh, man, we've been watching tons of college football, obviously, with us not going until the spring. But, man, for us, our students are actually working virtually from home, so they're going to be all remote learning. So, man, we've just been meeting as much as we can through the guidelines and through the parameters of being able to meet with our guys virtually through Zoom or Google Meet or whatever service guys are using. We've just been meeting, man, meeting, trying to get prepared for the spring. Obviously, the spring will be rolling around here real quick. But just prepping for that, man. It's a really, like I said, it's a really good time to sit back and be able to watch some of my teams and being able to watch some of the guys I've coached in the past, or like I said, Syracuse games. So it's been good for me, man.
Yeah, and looking at Morgan State, I mean, the fact that you guys have some time here, you're in this very unique situation that coaches never get, which is, the opportunity to not just like watch another game because of film and preparation, but you actually get to watch college football and watch the NFL, you get to. Yeah, go ahead.
For me, being able to watch Syracuse and then obviously watch football on Sundays, but Coach Wheatley, his son's running back down at Virginia Tech, so I'm sure he's able to get a chance to catch some of his games now rather than Saturdays where we would be out working and Sundays when we're in the office all day breaking down games and getting ready for the next week. Now we're getting to watch a little bit more football, getting a little bit more free time. It's good for now, but I can't wait to get back to work, man.
Yeah, and for you, what have you been doing? I mean, I know that the hay is never, ever in the barn. So what are you doing to get the hay in the barn? What's keeping you busy? I know you talked about, having like the Zoom calls and connecting with the team and whatnot, in what respect, but how is Jerome Smith improving Jerome Smith's life in these last, 5-6 months?
Oh, man, Dan, and got into some real estate, learning a little bit of real estate. I'm still grilling on Sundays, man, so if you're ever in the area, man, come down. Man, I make a heck of a grilled steak on Sundays down at the house in Delaware. But just a good time. Obviously, I got a 2-year-old now, man. She's loads of fun. She's been keeping me busy, man. So it hasn't been much free time, but it's been loads of time with the family, man, and just hanging out with the family because I know when I get back to work, I'll be all in again.
So, first and foremost, yes, when I come through your area, I'll come out and I'll grill with you because I just grilled yesterday. I made some burgers yesterday. Dude, I love I think that I'm going to be the guy now in the snow that's going to be sitting outside in my chair in my giant jacket still grilling. I don't know if I could stop grilling now because I like it too much.
Yeah, you can grill any weather, brother. That's why I say you come down to Delaware anytime, man. Just let me know. We'll throw something on the grill.
And that is a yes for me, and I appreciate that. I do want to shout out your daughter to everybody that doesn't know. What's her name?
Roman.
What'd you say, Roman?
Roman Reigns. Yep.
Roman Reigns. So Miss Roman, what does she do to keep you busy? What's the life of a 2-year-old for her?
Oh, man. So, obviously, once she gets up and I'm getting ready to get in the football meeting, so she usually makes her presence known and says hi to the guys on meeting. And then she usually, has breakfast, walks around the house for a couple minutes. Mom's a teacher, so she, we do a lot of learning activities with her, in between her mom's schedule with class and everything.
Oh, we lost you for a second here. What did you say after you said her mom's a teacher?
What'd you say, Dan?
I said we had lost you for a sec, so after you said her mom's a teacher, what did you say after that?
Oh, yeah, man. Mom's a teacher. She's constantly on activities, learning activities, and, she wants Dad to help her with a lot of stuff. So, man, we do a lot of learning activities, honestly. We got some stuff going on at the house. We're remodeling, redoing her playroom, so, have somewhere to study and have somewhere to hang out and learn during this time. But, man, she's been keeping me busy just being a 2-year-old, man. You ever been around a 2-year-old, man? I ain't got to be specific, man. They just keep me busy.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, and Jerome, what I love, too, is as serious as you are, you also have, like, that big, like, kid smile. And I'm sure, that, how difficult is it for you to be, like, disciplinarian dad, strong face, but then, like, want to laugh because she makes you happy? How do you balance those two?
Oh, man, that's tough. That's tough because, I was, like you said, man, I'm disciplinarian by nature. That's just my nature. I'm a disciplinarian guy. But shoot, just to see her or just to hear her say certain things sometimes, like, how could you even be mad or how could you, discipline this type of stuff? And we have a good time together, though. She's really a good time. She's sharp, man. She's sharp. We had a chance to hang out with Jared West last week. We had a chance for her to meet Jared, and that was a good time. Jared's my roommate in college.
Yeah.
So shoot, man, she's learning, man. She's sharp.
What did you and Jared get to do, and bring me into that? Because that's another blast from the past name. So what did you and Jared get to do?
Oh, man, we caught up for a family birthday party. We got a mutual friend, pretty much family for us. And he came down to Philly, and I went up to Philly, and we met up there, and I had a chance to catch up for a bit and talk ball, talk Syracuse, obviously. That's one of the things we always get a chance to talk to some Syracuse, and he loves it. He loves it, man. He loves the Cuse.
The reality of Syracuse football through 3 weeks: 1-2 record, 1-0 in the new dome, 1-2 in the ACC, 0-2 on the road. What are your biggest notes? You said that you and Jared got to talk Syracuse. What are the notes that you have through 3 weeks for Syracuse?
Defense is better than I thought they would be. Offense is behind like you thought they should, they would be. In most places, offense is behind defense. You found something in Sean Tucker. That's always a plus. I think they'll do a really good job competing, and they showed that they'll fight. These guys will fight. Just going through the first 3 weeks, I think you're not far off. I don't think you're far off. You just got to get offense going. Tommy's a really good football player, but I think he needs a little bit more help than we all imagined this early on.
Yeah.
But again, it's early on. And being able to play with NASA, man, he's a legend. He's a legend up there. He had time to grow.
Yeah.
He didn't have these great expectations on him because he wasn't coming into the same program that Tommy was coming into. Syracuse was kind of on the decline when they came in, but NASA worked things out and figured some good things out for us in the program, as well as Dungy, and So he'll have his time, man. And early on, Dungy had his woes. He just had an older group that, help him out a bit. This group's a little bit younger. He'll be fine, though.
Yeah, and we get to, like you said.
Big ups to Rex. Big ups to Rex stuff. Big up to Rex, man. Rex the man.
And Rex, I mean, how about this? Overcoming cancer to not only be alive, but to still be on the team and to come in and throw the first touchdown pass of the season is pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's big time, man. That's big time. The man upstairs don't make mistakes, brother. The man upstairs don't make mistakes.
Yeah, and it just, I mean, it does. It shows you to appreciate life. It shows you to appreciate your opportunities. And you talk about, Syracuse and where they're at right now and that you feel like, they're not far off and whatnot. As we see this team grow and blossom, I do want to make a note on the defensive side that I think is incredible because this is something that people may be getting used to now and not even realizing below the surface that they're not appreciating it. Syracuse's defense in 3 weeks has gotten an interception every single game, at least one. And they've gotten it on the D-line, they've gotten it from the linebacker core, they've gotten it from the DBs, they've gotten it at every single piece of the defense. It's not just the corners, it's not just Cisco, it's not just the linebackers, it's not just the D-line. And we saw in this last game where Jeff Sims came in turning the ball, and I said this was a big part, a big circle that I had on this game was Jeff Sims throws interceptions, Syracuse's defense is good at getting them, they need to capitalize. Jeff Sims came in throwing 2 a game, Syracuse made him throw 4, and it was 4 interceptions by 4 different players, none of them named Andre Cisco, who didn't even play in the game that Syracuse won 37-20. What does that say about Syracuse's defense that the D-line, the linebackers, and the DBs are getting interceptions, and on a day where they got 4 interceptions, Andre Cisco didn't even play?
Oh, man, I think all those guys are starting to come around. I think that defensive back core is starting to show up. I think they'll be a really, really good DB core for these next few years. Like you said, without even Cisco playing, they did their part. I think those young corners are starting to pan out, and obviously Trill's been playing great since he's got there. I love Trill, man. Trill's a big-time football player.
Yeah, and how incredible these guys have been. I mean, okay, so Trill, I want to get into this really quick here with Jerome. And so Trill comes in to, he comes into Syracuse, immediately has a positive effect on Syracuse, is doing his thing. Last season, the last play in the old dome, instead of going for the tackle, he grabs the guy, pulls at the ball as he spins around him, takes the ball like a magician, and runs down the field for a touchdown to end the game for good. That's a play that was extremely dicey, and I believe he said the coaching staff said, don't ever do that again. This game in the new dome, first game in the new dome, so last game in the old dome he does that, first game in the new dome, he tells us in the media before the game that his roommate is Jihad Carter. And he said, Jihad and I were joking. If one of us gets an interception and we get into trouble, pitch it back. So he goes over to Jihad. When Jihad gets the interception, returns it, I believe, 23 yards. He goes over to Jihad, and he's like, Jihad, like, pitch it back. He pitches it to him, 43-yard touchdown run for Trill Williams. He has had 2 of the greatest plays that I have seen since coming back to Syracuse defensively. And these are plays that coaches would normally say don't do. But I think when it comes to Trill, when a coach goes, you probably shouldn't do that, it always, I mean, at least at this point, it ends up being a really, really good play. What can you tell me about the dog that Trill Williams is and the fact that Trill not only makes plays, but he makes these plays that stick out that nobody's ever going to forget?
Man, Trill makes those plays that you can't account for, man. Guys that make those plays, those guys, you just never account for it, but you know they're going to make a play. And those are the guys you can count on. Like I said before, he's a dude who I watched come in from day one and make a statement, make things known that he'll be here for a while. Said when we first talked about him, Trill, big-time player, man. Everybody not going to be big-time players, but Trill, Cisco, some of the guys in that DB core, they're becoming big-time players, and those guys will be good in the future, and they'll also be good pros, man. They'll have opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, absolutely incredible what this team has been able to do, and amazing with him and Cisco. And we look at a lot of firsts. Mikel Jones did not have an interception in college. He got his first career interception the first game. Then he comes back the second game and gets his second career. Sean Tucker never had a touchdown, and obviously he's a freshman at Syracuse. He gets his first career touchdown on that fantastic roll-around, stay-up play. Then he gets his second one in the same game. Jahad Carter never had an interception. He got his first one in this win over Georgia Tech. Robert Hanna never had an interception. He got his first one. In the first 3 weeks for Syracuse, we are seeing all of these firsts, and they're all good. What can you say to that? That we are seeing these players at Syracuse, they're eating, but right now a lot of them are eating at the table, and a lot of these young guns that are going to be a part of the future of Syracuse are doing big things in the first 3 weeks.
Oh man, that's a testament to Coach Favors recruiting. And then it just lets you know the future's bright. We got a good deal going on. Dan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, good, man. Yeah, man, we got a good deal going on these next couple of years. I'm excited, man. I'm excited, especially that running back room. That running back room causes problems. I like it. I like the competition in that room.
Now, with Abdul and Jarvion being out, do you have any cause for concern? I know I spoke with Mo Neal about it, and Mo's close to both of them. The concern that I have to with this is that I have saying, and again, I haven't spoken to Abdul and Jarvion about this, but there's a gut feeling to a certain extent that there's more to them not playing this season than just Corona, and the thought that they may not be at Syracuse. How do you prepare for losing a guy twice if that does happen?
Oh man, it's just like I told you before, man. Roles are forever changing. You got to be ready for this role to change, man. And like I said, Sean was one of those guys who was ready for the role to change. Came in at number 5, ended up working his way up to number 1 and number 2, and being able to take some carries. Thing for Abdul, thing for Jervion, same deal, man. I understand that roles are forever going to change. When you come back to work, you come back to work. Take care of everything you got to take care of at home, and when it's time to play football again and be on campus with your teammates, next you dialed in and totally locked in with it.
That coming from the man, Jerome Smith. Jerome, is so happy for you and so happy for your family and for everything you got going on. And obviously, I hope I hope we get to see Morgan State sooner than later. What have you taken, kind of in closing here, from college football, from what you've been able to watch? Who's been maybe your most surprising team in a good way, and who's been the most surprising team in a not so good way? And that could be ACC or it could be overall. What team has really surprised you in a big way positively, and then what team surprised you in a big way not so positively?
I'm going to go all ACC here. I'm going to say surprised me, University of Miami. Kind of disappointing is Florida State.
Yeah.
Those would be, because I'm focused on the ACC right now, and I'm trying to figure out how we can win the ACC championship. But yeah, man, for me, it would be those two programs. Miami, they looking lights out, man. They look like a really good program right now. But Florida State looking like they got some things to figure out. And man, anytime you play in the ACC, you playing top-notch opponents every week. Regardless of who you playing, anytime you play in the ACC, you get a chance to play top-notch talent every week. So.
Yeah, and the thing that's kind of sad for Syracuse this year is that they're not playing Florida State, and this would be one of the years to play them. And
this would be the year to get them.
And that's the thing is, you said exactly what I had said, in yesterday's show. I said my biggest surprise in a positive way is Miami, and my biggest surprise in a not so positive way is Florida State. Miami, with what they've been able to do and how they haven't just beaten teams, they've pushed them, they've beaten them into the ground. And then Florida State just can't seem to get anything done, do anything on defense, do anything on offense. It was the biggest margin of victory by Miami in this rivalry ever. And so, it's funny how I didn't want to load the question and tell you what I picked, and we ended up picking the exact same Floridian teams, Miami for the good and Florida State for the not so good. So at least I know that, as in other times, Jerome, you and I are on the same page. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I got you there.
So I mean, you and I being on the same page. Ending with this, talking about same page, you and I both pay very close attention to the Dallas Cowboys. What are your thoughts on the Cowboys through the first 3 weeks? We can get him here. Jerome, can you hear us?
Yeah. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me a second to think about it. I had to think about it.
Okay. I thought the call had dropped. It was just Jerome having a really deep thought about Dallas.
Yeah, man. That's a crystal ball thought right there. I had to sit and think about that one. But I think they are learning who they are as a team.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to see some success, and the division isn't very good. So hopefully they're starting to lick their chops and seeing that they have a chance to make the playoffs. But the division isn't good, and you still got to remember, man. Without a lot of football that we had this off season, they brought in a new coaching staff. So, man, I know they're working through some stuff. Obviously, I know some intricate details that Mike McCarthy got in his offense that Dak is probably still learning and getting on the same page with Kellen. So, man, I think they'll be fine just because the division's down.
And then the other side, the other NFL question I have for you on the other side of it in the AFC, we saw Pat Mahomes and company take it to Lamar Jackson this week. Can anybody beat Kansas City?
Right now, no sir, man. Kansas City, a good football team. Right now, you got a quarterback playing lights out. You got a running back that can run the ball. You got guys who can take the top off anytime you go, single high coverage, and Kansas team, Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins. Man, I think that's a lot of covering. I mean, shoot, at Syracuse we had a chance to see Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce. So I know those are good football players, man, and having all those guys on one offense, yeah, that'll be good.
There's a reason why that man's making approximately $50 million a year in his new contract. So. That coming from Jerome Smith, the last 1,000-yard back for Syracuse back in 2012. Jerome, as always, I appreciate you. My love to Roman and to your family, and I look forward to hopefully getting to see you soon and grill soon as well, brother.
Yes,
I appreciate you too, and so please be safe out there and give my best to everybody. Okay. We got you. Can you hear me? Jerome? We got you. Jerome, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So, no, I was just saying I hope you have a great day and stay safe, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right, take care.
All right, bud.
See ya. That coming from Jerome Smith there, and, and you never want to say goodbye until, well, I don't say goodbye, I say see you later. But you don't want to ever do that until you know that the person on the other end can hear you. Because you never know. You never know in life, and if we know anything from Corona, it's that you never know what the next moment's going to bring, so you want to make the most of it. So with all of that being said, I definitely appreciate and thank so much Jerome being on the show. I mean, he's an incredible human being in my life. He was an incredible back at Syracuse. The last time Syracuse ran for 1,000 yards from one running back, and as we were talking about him and Prince, the year that he got 1171, I want to get Prince's exact numbers here because I want to share them with you. But the year that he got 1171 was a year that Prince almost had 1,000 yards himself. And so it's just, I mean, to me, that's absolutely positively incredible. I want to bring that up here. So back in 2012, the last time that Syracuse had 1,000-yard back, he had 1171. Prince had 830. Prince had 5.3 yards a carry. Jerome had 5.2. And when you put them together, they ended up running for 2,001 rushing yards that season with 2,001 rushing yards, and they ran the ball together a combined 385 times. So over 5 yards of carry for them both. So really, really incredible. And I miss those days like crazy. So I'm greedy and I want them to come back. And Sean Tucker gave me a sense for it, a taste of it. So now I got to see it happen. So with that being said, very much appreciate Jerome as always and love the man. So I hope you're doing well, brother. And again, my best to Roman and to the entire family. I hope that your little 2-year-old keeps you going in a positive way and that everybody's safe and sound. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we'll get set for Papa Joe coming up 2 days early right here on Wake Up Call.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavicolis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avicoli's, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Trapper's Pizza Pub, located on 5950 Butternut Drive in East Syracuse. Right off of Bridge Street is your local community supporter right around the corner. Join us on site at Trapper's Pizza Pub for our live monthly broadcast supporting Central New York student athletes and their sports programs. Call 315-438-4444 for more information. And find us on Facebook and Instagram at Trapper's Pizza Pub. Trapper's Pizza Pub, your local community supporter right around the corner.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecabal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way out to Pulaski, but before you go out there, make sure you download the app by going to the Apple app or Google Play Store and searching Millhouse Market. Once you have that app set and ready to go, you will have the opportunity to see their entire menu at your fingertips with contactless pay, as well as the ability to stay in your car and drive right up and pick up your food from the Millhouse Market. They're making it easy, keeping us safe, and keeping it simple for everybody. So make sure that you make your way out to the Millhouse Market and get any one of their over 30 different sandwich concoctions, as well as their pizzas. The bee sting and the steak and blue are the ones that I love inside of their brick oven, as well as their homemade breads, the sun-dried tomato, mozzarella, the maple brownies, the M&M cookies. You know what to do, folks. 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. It is absolutely, positively worth the drive every time. And when you get out there, make sure you let them know that Wake Up Call sent you their way. Fantastic place, making it easy, giving us that app and contactless pay, as well as being able to sit in our car when we go and grab our food. I want to thank the Millhouse for all that they do, and more than anything else, for their amazing flavors and their service. We appreciate you so very much, and we're happy that if you could pick any community, you picked ours.